Sir.
Trash your cash.
All right, party people.
Trash your cash. Trash your cash. Is the idea trash or is cash? Let us know. Yes, maybe so. Or for sure, it's a no. Should we stop while we ahead and turn around or it's a go? Trash or is cash? Go on ahead, submit your vote. Hey, yo, check dig. You're now tuned in to Trash or Cash Podcast, the show where the host will present a new idea and debate whether it's trash or cash. But the final decision is solely up to you, the audience.
All right, party people. Welcome to the Trash or Cash Podcast, the show for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. Now, the idea is simple. A couple of entrepreneurs, me and this guy right now, get together and pitch each other ideas that we might think have the potential to become a successful business. But ideas are one thing and reality is quite another. So we're going to share our wild ideas with each other, right, Dolmar? And we're going to try to figure out if something is a cash idea, meaning it's going to probably make some money, or if it should just completely be trashed. And, you know, who knows? Maybe between the two of us, we end up discovering the next unicorn or inspiring somebody to do something with one of these ideas. I don't care. Sometimes I just want to see things born into the world, even if it's not me that brings it to the world. So having said that, we're going to talk to Mr. Dolmar Cross here. This is who we got right here. He's a little bit famous, just a little bit. He got a TV show on A&E called Zombie House Hunters. And
Zombie House Flipping.
Zombie House Flipping.
You can't mess that up.
Well, wait, you got to hunt for the damn zombie before you can flip it, right? I mean, look. All right, so the prologue, the one, if this was Walking Dead, this would be the one before the Walking Dead. My show, and then his show is the other one, the weaker one, if you ask me, right? So, all right, look, man, that's Dolmar here. Actually, we're neighbors, been friends over the past couple of years. I got to know Dolmar through the internet. Funny story, he didn't have an OnlyFans, but what was cool was he was getting chased by a bull in the middle of a field trying to go flip a house with his former mentor and partner, Kenny Rushing.
Yep.
So that's how I got to experience Dolmar. He was literally a rodeo clown, if you ask, on the internet. And look at him now, man. Got a TV show, flipping stuff, and out here just doing big things in big vehicles. So, and keeping it sexy the whole time, because I know that's your catchphrase, even though I use it a lot too. I'm associated with sexy on my own, but right now this is like sexy squared. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna give the man his due. And Dolmar, what should the good people know about you and what you do?
About me. Well, I am a real estate investor. I've been doing this since I was 20 years old. Before real estate, I was a balloon artiste, a door-to-door salesman. I got to make it sound a little sexy. Balloon artiste. That's what I did in college as a broke college student trying to make ends meet. And I found real estate through reading a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It showed me what was possible. It opened up my eyes to those possibilities. But it wasn't a step-by-step book. And so I jumped in not knowing what I was doing, made a lot of mistakes, lost money on my first 4 deals, eventually got a mentor, Kenny, as you mentioned. And that completely changed my life. I was able to get resourceful, make investments in my self-education, and I've been in real estate ever since. 18 years later, I've had a lot of successes, a lot of failures as well, but real estate was the vehicle that helped me to springboard into the career I have today. It has allowed me to invest and start other businesses as well. And today I now have a TV show on A&E called Zombie House Flipping, where we can show other people, regardless of background, regardless of resources, that anybody with the desire, the will, the drive, the determination, the focus, they can get involved in real estate. They can buy houses, renovate them, make them beautiful again, which helps the community and puts the properties back on the tax roll for the city, and provides a nice house that someone can enjoy, for many years to come, and make some money in the process as well. We want to show people that, they can do this. The purpose of the show is a word we call attainable aspiration. So anybody that they can do this as well. You don't have to have cash, credit, or credentials to do it. You just have to be resourceful.
And be able to make balloon animals on demand.
You know what? I hope that in one of the episodes, I can probably make it a balloon animal for some reason.
Hey, can somebody go get us a balloon real quick? Somebody?
I don't even know if I remember how to make one, but one of my most popular balloon animals to make was a pregnant monkey. That was always a hit. A pregnant monkey and 2 lovebirds kissing, because I would always make the couple at the restaurants, they always wanted that.
Somebody asked you for a pregnant monkey?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a kid, it was like a random person like, yo, can you make me a pregnant monkey? And it just stuck?
I would give a list of things that I could make, and that was always the top choice. One of the two top choices, because it seemed complicated. Like it's interesting, right? Like a pregnant monkey, and they get curious, like, how do you do that with a balloon?
It's pretty specific.
Yeah.
Mine would have been like snake, standing snake.
That's easy though. That's easy. Flowers, snakes, that's all easy. But a pregnant monkey?
No, me. That's my skill set. I would have been right angle, like, that would be the extent of my skill set.
I hope I can do one of those on the show one time. I actually have to practice and see if I even remember how to do it.
Can you make like a house balloon? That probably, or a zombie balloon. Question: who picked the name zombie? Like, what makes a house a zombie versus a Godzilla or a King Kong or a or a vampire? Like, what?
You have these really interesting questions. All right, so zombie for us represents the ugly, nasty, disgusting, forgotten about, left for dead houses that no one wants. And we come in and make them beautiful again. We sexify them. We make them nice again, and where people want to buy them. Now, the name was created by the network. I wish I could take credit for that, but it was already a show that was in production. Aaron, the OGs in Orlando started this show with Annie, and they had 4 seasons, and the show did so well for the network, they wanted to expand it and open up other cities. So my team and I are blessed to represent Tampa, the awesomeness of Tampa, and we get to go in and, save and resurrect and revive these homes, these zombie houses, make them nice again.
And Trap House Hunters doesn't really
it
doesn't really ring the bells like it should. It's probably not very, very, very marketable in that Mid America section. I mean, we know what it is, but zombie sounds better.
We do. Some of the zombie houses may have been
it's
former
more
trap houses.
Yeah,
though.
it's more SEO friendly, and zombies have emerged from certain houses, so we can also kind of attribute it to that. That's probably where it came from. We're just trying to be like politically correct somehow, and still get some kind of SEO out of it. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't get paid to do that. So, all right. So, real quick, there's always 3 questions I like to ask everybody. We kind of know each other. We've known each other a while. We're actually neighbors. And for other people who are maybe just getting to know you, if they haven't seen you on TV, haven't gotten to witness you doing laptop meetings in a pool or any other stuff, or getting chased by bulls, or just fighting the forces of evil in the real estate game, something to let them to get to know you a little bit better. Pretty good idea of who you are, what you really care about, and like where you're headed in life. So you ready for these super soul-searching, deep as hell questions that are going to reveal your soul to the world and possibly embarrass you for the rest of your life?
I'm a little worried because it's you, and I know you.
I'll be easy, brother.
Okay.
All right, man. What are you most proud of?
My family. Everybody needs to have a why, a reason why they do what they do. Because, for example, real estate, right? I got into real estate initially because my why back then when I was a broke college student was to make money. But after a while, that motivation goes away. You got to go after something deeper than the money, especially when you're just getting started, because when things aren't going according to plan, because in business, they rarely go according to plan. When things aren't going according to plan and life throws curveballs at you, what is it that's going to keep you motivated, pressing forward with your sleeves rolled up, heels dug in, and show up every single day and do what needs to be done? And you have to have a strong relationship with your why. And for me, my why is my family. My wife, my kids, they are the reason why I do what I do, work and grind as hard as I do.
Okay, so a lot of people say they're family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you think you're family, there's what? You got 4 kids?
3.
3? Okay. You picture them, it's like your family and this picture of your why. Where do you see them? Like, you see them on top of Mount Olympus, you see them at the beach chilling. Like, where do you see them in your vision of the why? Like, the ultimate destination, you and your family are doing a missions trip, ambassadors to another country. Like, I only ask that because I want to know a little deeper if what inside of that, because I know your background is a little bit, and you come from the Caribbean culture, right? Like, it's like there's this work ethic and there's this desire to excel and be more than maybe some of the people that came before you. All these things, right? So like that, my family picture in your head, closing your eyes, like where are they in this vision in your head? That's when everything sucks, when you're pounding Celsius like me, when you got to go home and wake up early and doing these shows, your family is this light that drives you. Does it look like a little picture on a cameo? Does it look like everybody's in heaven? Like, what does that look like for you? I just want to know.
Yeah, it's just freedom. I'm gonna write that word down. Freedom. To be able to,
And that's where we're at, actually.
right, do what we want, go where we want, with whomever we want, which is my family, and really enjoy life without having much of the struggle. Now, when I say without much of the struggle, I still want my kids to experience some form of hardship. I don't want them to just grow up with a silver spoon in their mouth and everything come easy, because there's no, I need them to benefit from being able to be resourceful and get creative. But I want to have freedom for them, and so that we can really, truly enjoy this life that we have, and most importantly, give back to those who are less fortunate than ourselves. Right now, because I'm in real estate, I am on a mission right now. Earlier today, you saw this, I was having a meeting in the next room with some guys that we're having a collective brainstorm on how we solve the affordable housing problem, in this city and beyond. And, that's one of my biggest passions, is using what God has blessed my family and I with and giving back to those in need, and coming up with solutions to provide resources and support. And so I want my kids to be able to have the life of freedom to do what we want to do, but also use that time and the resources that we have to give back and rebuild and provide solutions and hope for others. Whether that's building houses in other countries, building houses here in America, providing, I want my kids to grow up, I want my family to grow up with a mindset and a heart of service, in being in service to others.
Got it. So the freedom to serve how you choose to serve.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. That's kind of, no disrespect, but I've heard my family so many times, and I got a big family. You've seen some of them, and
you do have a big family.
Yeah, we all have that in our head, but for me, it's deeper than that. And that's like a whole other podcast. But the point is, I sometimes think when people say that, it's kind of too lazy. Nothing against you. So that's why I was driving for that. Now, the freedom to serve. That's a big good one. Like for me, I'm like, I got it now. Yeah. And I know that about you, that you want to serve, and it's crazy how many big things go on in this building right under our nose. But we get to see it a little bit here and there, and I just wanted people to know more about you that probably nobody takes the time to really dig into, like I try to just do right now. So cool.
And it's important to not just talk the talk. Like you got to walk the walk, right? And so that's what some of these meetings I'm having now are about, is being intentional about that. I take my daughter. You may see it on some of my posts on social media. Take my daughter with me, so she can be with me.
Designing.
Yeah, she's designing some of our projects now. I'm teaching my 8-year-old son how to get hands-on and fix some stuff. And so I really want them to be a part of this journey with me. I'm not doing it by myself. And just listening to them, my daughter will send me messages like just make you just break down and cry, and she really genuinely cares about other people and wants to serve others as well. And so her watching dad do what I do and serve on a grand scale or big scale because of the platform that I have, it's ingraining in them and instilling in them those values that I find and think are important.
So I kind of know the answer to this question that I'm going to ask you right now, but I want you to say it. And the question is, what are you most excited about right now? And I know what it is because you just actually walked out of the room with that smile on your face. And I know you don't want to tell all of it, but it, directly relates to what you just talked about. So what are you most excited about right now?
Affordable housing.
Got it.
Solving the affordable housing problem in the city of Tampa and beyond. That is something that I'm excited about.
And you may have just discovered a piece of the puzzle today.
Yeah, I'm having conversations with some very key individuals that are part of economic development in the city. And I'm having conversations at such a high level. I'm being introduced to programs that I didn't know even existed. I'm starting to open the door and have those conversations, and I'm starting to be introduced to people and key individuals that can at least help get one step closer towards this thing that I'm now excited about. So that's one thing. The other thing I am excited about as well is really this TV show. I am really excited about the possibilities of what could be with that. Being on a national TV show does bring certain benefits, and with that comes access and exposure to be able to pursue some of these endeavors and these initiatives that I want to pursue.
I just want to let you guys know this boy works hard. He's always running. So, all right. So what's your vision for the future? Because you got a lot of things that could go, into the future. I mean, the affordable housing, definitely a vision. Is there a even bigger picture behind that for you?
I don't know right now. It's pretty big, and I don't know how big I can grow it, so I'm just taking it one step at a time.
Dolmar for president. Could be. You never know.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. I scooped everybody else 20 years from now. All right, Mayor, let's go. We could do that.
I would say, I was talking to a friend of mine, Lee, and I shared some of the big.
The guy that was sexting you a little early.
Yeah. We text pretty often, but yeah, I was chatting with him. I think it was 2 days ago, and I was talking about some of my vision as well, and some of the expansions that we want to do nationwide. And he was giving me his thoughts and insights on that. He's one of the people that I lean on for to poke holes in some of my ideas.
Oh, that's what he'd be good for this too, because that's what we're doing here. We're gonna be poking some holes in some things, but that's good stuff. So this next part, really simple. I'm gonna hit you with an idea. I mean, this is the trash or cash part, right? So this is what we're here for. I'm gonna hit you with an idea. I'm gonna pitch you something. It could be an idea from my business from before, Trash Mitter. The Uber for Trash business. It could be something that I kind of thought up years ago, and I was just like, man, I should do that thing, but would it still really be good or not? And it could just be an idea I came up with. So I'm trying to think. I got a list of things here. I'm gonna look at and see what might. You know what? I'm gonna give you a marketing idea that I think works, and I'll give you some tidbits about it. So this could be a trash or a cash idea, but it's not necessarily a business. It's more like an exposure thing, and maybe you'll appreciate this being on TV a little more. It's kind of like guerrilla marketing. So that judge it by that. Not right now. Like, this may not be a business in itself, but I think it could build somebody's business. So I just want to give you that framework right. Okay. So this all comes from Google reviews. Okay. So you know how when you go someplace and they're like, hey, how was this place? Like it asks you a bunch of things. It makes you a reviewer, right? You take a photo and then they ask you questions like, was it handicap accessible? Was it this? Was it that? Ask you a bunch of questions. And then, it's just like, just Google is just trying to gather information. Well, a long time ago, Google asked me a question. I was in Home Depot. And I'm a goofball, so I was like, you know what? I'm tired of Google asking me these questions, right? So it allows you to take a picture in the location. So remember that game where if you look into the finger and you could get, you look in there and then somebody punches you and it turned into this big thing, but like it's like Rochambeau. It's like the little game of showing someone the hole, right? So if you're at home, if you're seeing the video, it's like if you get caught looking in this hole, somebody can punch you, right? So I did a video where I kind of was like reviewing Home Depot, like a drill or something, and then I kind of went down and I did the hole on my leg, and I was just thinking like all the people that I made look at my leg, and I was just giggling about how like that was just funny to me. Like I made people look, and if I was in person, I could have punched them, right? And so just thinking about all these, like I got like 4,000 people looked at my picture, right? Like it tells you. So I was like, you know what? Think of all the ways you could use that in a funny way or in a marketing way. And I was like, well, if you got a book, right? And every time you go to, say, what do you call it? Any restaurant, right? Just Chipotle or something, they ask you to review. You could be like, this Chipotle was awesome. And you could be holding up your book and the picture that you took in front of Chipotle. And everywhere you go where you review, you're just showing a picture of yourself with the book and reviewing the place. Like, how viral could your post free marketing wise get? I wonder how many books you could sell that way. Or if you showed your website or your product, maybe you were selling like, I don't know, one of these drinks. And you're just like, Chipotle is awesome. And people are like, why is he always holding up this thing? But it became this thing. I just thought like, I wonder how that marketing idea, like it's free marketing. I wonder how many people would catch and follow that person just because they keep thinking, man, he's always plugging that one thing, and then go look into their book or whatever like that. So it was really this is more like a marketing idea, but like, I think it would work. If you were just really consistent with it and you just went everywhere, and everywhere you went, you checked in and you showed this picture with your your website on your shirt or your book or your product. Just every time you took a picture and wherever you showed up on Google, it's like you're plugging this one thing, right? So my question to you is this: how effective do you think that would work? Is it even a good idea? Would it even interest somebody, or do you just think it's kind of like a dumb thing. You know, that's what I have for you. I'm sorry. I just, because I know you're a marketing person, I just thought it would be interesting to share that one.
When it comes to marketing, I'm more of the direct response type marketing. I like to use paid traffic and, track the results of that. I do think any form of marketing helps. This is more guerrilla form marketing, leveraging a big engine like Google reviews, and because you're wearing that shirt, some people are going to certainly see it. So, for example, my truck out there, right? That truck is bringing in leads for me. I just got a lead today on a house that someone wants to sell. This person lives in another state. She lives in Hawaii, but because people are taking pictures of my truck, posting it on social media, tagging me, and it has the website on there. She saw the truck somewhere on social media and reached out to me today. Said, hey, I inherited this house. It's a hoarder house. It's completely trashed, and I want to sell it. And so
she's in Hawaii, and the house is somewhere around here?
Yeah, house is right here in Tampa. But she saw someone else reposting this truck, right? And tagging me in it. And she reached out because of that. And it's not even because of the TV show. And so something like this, I think people that are looking up this restaurant or whatever place that they're looking for reviews for, they might see your review, and because you're in this, if it's something that's catchy, grabs attention, they might get curious and look it up. Like, what is this? And if it's compelling enough and has good copy on the website, you might be able to get some followers from that. And God forbid, if it's really good, and here's the thing: if you have that shirt, a picture of your product on the shirt, and good copy in the review, it can go viral.
If I'm wearing a shirt and it says, let me touch your junk, and I'm on everything, like, you think I'll get some real leads? Some trash meter leads, right?
Marketing has to be outrageous. And so if it's bold and outrageous like that, and you're wearing that shirt, and your review also is very captivating, it might make somebody laugh. And so here's the thing. I took a picture of myself in the middle of the ocean with my laptop. Yeah. It was a trip I took to Hawaii, and my sister, who does all of our marketing, she was like, Dolmar, I want to create a campaign about the laptop lifestyle. So I need you to take a picture with the laptop in the most random places. So I took a picture with myself sitting at a farm with chickens around me. I took a picture next to some dinosaur bones at this park I went to in Hawaii. I forget the name of it right now. I took a picture of myself in the middle of the ocean. Someone saw that picture and put a really captivating caption on that picture. Said something like, hey, when your boss at work says, hey, turn on your cameras. This is when COVID is at its peak and everyone's doing virtual.
I remember the whole thing.
Yeah, they're working virtually. And so that picture went viral. It was everywhere. Not because of me. Someone else saw it and loved it. And I thought, man, we should use that in our marketing. And we did. We used that exact same picture in our marketing, and it worked. And so I like your idea. If it's a bold, captivating caption on the shirt or a copy on the shirt followed by a really captivating, funny, witty review, it's going to pique someone's interest, and they're going to look you up. So I guess that.
Gosh, yay! All right, so that was a tricky one, but it was more about like the idea behind it, meaning it could work under the right circumstances, because if you do it right and you make someone laugh, and that's really was the purpose of it. If you can make someone laugh, and I believe that wholly, because I put a junk car, a minivan on Turo with a whole story about Star Wars, and I used to just get rentals just from the story, because I'd ask him, why'd you rent this? He goes, that was a kind of a funny story. I call it the Millennium Falcon. I made this whole thing about Chewbacca and Han Solo, and it was like, you're gonna pick this beater van with a good story, or you're gonna pick this really sweet van that can't, it's sexy, but there's no story behind it. So I think with marketing, story is always king. Mm-hmm. And if you can do a review and mix it up, and I think, like you said, in the right hands, it can. What do you got to lose is really what it is. It's like, hey, if it's funny to you, it's going to be funny to somebody else. It could turn into a house lead and, $20,000. I mean, I did flip a house dressed as a Mexican wrestler one time. So
I remember that.
Yeah, maybe I'll put that on the show.
What did you call yourself back then?
That was a luchador for that one, but I have multiple Mexican wrestler. There's Fix It, there's Casa Grande. I don't know what it is with me and Mexican wrestlers and luchador masks, but I think I was just born to be a vigilante and like clothesline people with a mask on. I think that's just a calling that I missed somehow. Maybe in a past life, I was just clotheslining people. I don't know. All right, so let me hear your idea, bro. I know you got something good, or maybe you don't, but.
Well, I've had lots of ideas. As an entrepreneur, I'm always had ideas, and someone that also has a creative mind, always thinking about stuff. Very focused on real estate, but I had an idea that I tested for a little bit. So you know this. I was doing the car rental business for a little bit, and I had this idea that was out there and pretty creative, and I started to test it, but I let it go before I could really have it take off. But it did show possibility and promise, and so I'm going to share that idea and see what you think about it. So the idea is, I call it cash cars. And a lot of people are doing Turo right now. If you don't know what Turo is, it's where you can, it's basically like Airbnb for cars. So you put your car on the Turo app, and you can have other people rent it out for you, and you make some good cash. There's another idea I had, where it's cash cars, where you can buy these cheap $20,000 or less cars. And because of the low price that you're paying for these cars, either you finance them or buy them cash. Your payments on that car, if you finance it, would be around $500 a month, which includes insurance. Now, at $500 a month, that's your hard costs. I'm doing some math. I'm writing it down, right? And so my goal was to get at least 10 cars. 10 cars that you can finance. The payments, again, are $500 a month per vehicle. Now, here's where it gets very creative and interesting. I found out that there are a lot of people out there that are interested in side income. So they're willing to drive for Uber and Lyft and DoorDash to make some extra money. The challenge for some people, not all people, is that they don't want to put miles on their existing vehicle, or some people can't afford to get a car for credit reasons or other reasons. And so I found out that Uber had a program, or used to have a program, where they would provide vehicles to people who wanted to drive for them but didn't have a vehicle. And so they would rent them a car. I thought, instead of renting these people a car, why don't we partner with them? We'll provide the car to that person for free. And in exchange, they could use the car for business, but also use it for personal use as well. And for someone, the ideal person that would get this vehicle is someone that, again, doesn't have a car and they don't have the means to get a car. So this is a plus and a value add for them. Now, in exchange for using our vehicle, or having this vehicle that you can use for personal use for free, you have to work for us. And you're going to work for us by driving for Uber and Lyft. Now, here's how we control all of this. We're going to create the account on Uber and Lyft. The person that's driving the car for us does not create the account. We create the account for them, so we have control of the account, and we have control of the money that's being made to that account and being deposited into our bank account. We do give access to the driver to have access to the account, because they have to accept bookings and so forth. But they don't have access to the email account attached to that account. So they can't go in there and change information and so forth, like bank account information. And so we create the accounts. We find the drivers through different resources. It could be on Craigslist or job listings online. And when they reach out to apply and show interest in a job, we ask them a few questions, see if they qualify. And the things that we're looking for is, we put together a list of qualifications that, because Uber and Lyft have their own qualifications, very similar for the most part, but there's some slight differences. So we were able to spend a couple of days to group the qualifications together from all of the different platforms, and attract people that would check all the boxes. When they qualify, we then deliver a car to them. And they have to drive for, here's where the math comes in. They have to drive for at least 12 hours a day. Now, you're not driving 12 hours straight. You're taking different breaks in between. So for example, there are 3 shifts. One shift can be from 5 in the morning to 9 o'clock. You can be taking care of the airport traffic, people going to the airport. Another shift after you take a 2-hour break can be, 11 to 1. So you're covering the lunch hour time. You take another 2-hour break, and then you're working the evening shift. And so a 12-hour day is kind of what a lot of truck drivers would do. I found that a lot of people that were applying for this job were already truck drivers, and they loved this idea of driving for us, because with trucking, they have to be out of state and away from their families. For this, they were still going to put in the same amount of hours, but they were able to go home at night and stay with their family. So we had truck drivers that reached out. We had ambulance drivers, existing Uber drivers. And so there was surprisingly, when I was testing this concept and idea, there was a lot of interest. And so they have to drive for at least 12 hours a day. And so this is not going to be for everybody. I want to make that very clear. And at 12 hours a day, you should be able to bring in anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 per week. Now, let's just stay on the low end. You're doing $1,000 a week. $1,000 a week, that's $4,000 per month, right? $4,000 a month minus the $500 per month in expenses, not including maintenance and so forth, the occasional maintenance, but that's around $3,500 per month per car.
Do they get deducted that $500 then automatically from their cut? Like, is that part of it too, or that's just...
So that's actually deducted from our side.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, so on our side, we deduct the $500 because we take care of the payment for the car. Mm-hmm. The only thing that the driver is responsible for is paying for the gas, because we don't control when they use the car. I mean, we do control some of it, but we don't know when they're using it for personal use. So they pay for their own gas, and we share the maintenance cost. If a tire issue pops up or so forth, we share the cost of the maintenance, and we share the cost of the insurance. So our expenses on our end are about $500 per month, and the other expenses are on the driver's side. And so we're bringing in about $3,500 per month per car. Again, not factoring in maintenance right now. And so on 10 cars, that's $35,000 per month in revenue that someone could be bringing in with a very, very easy to enter, low cost of entry type of business, and doing pretty well. And you're in an industry that's in high demand. Now, there's still a lot of moving parts to this. I'm simplifying it a lot, but at a high level, we were able to pull this off, and we had 2 drivers bringing in a minimum of $1,000 per week. Sometimes there's around 900, sometimes it was 1,200, but 2 drivers bringing in that kind of revenue per week. Now, there's going to be turnover after a while. Some of these drivers may not want to do this anymore. They're exhausted. They want to do something else, and that's fine. We are able to put other drivers into those vehicles as well. One of the carrots we had that also made this interesting and to create loyalty and long-term employment with us was that we said, hey, after 3 years, if you stay with us for 3 years, you can get the car fully paid off, and you can keep it as our gift to you for being a part of this. So
I'm gonna call this cash because I have some questions, but I can see the application that can make this get those 12 hours and make them really maximize, and you could even get it down and still make that money.
Yeah, and if someone couldn't do 12 hours, one of the things we came up with is you can have a partner driver. If you have someone else in your household that also passes the qualifications and can get approved on Uber and Lyft to be a driver, then you can share the car with someone else in your household. And so you don't have to do 12 hours yourself. You and your husband, your wife, your spouse, your kid, you can share the car.
So this is my my 2 kind of points that I was wondering about. So insurance-wise, you get into this whole commercial insurance area when you're doing all that, which they kind of try to steer people away from. But for this, would it have some kind of commercial, because you have so many cars on it, some kind of commercial insurance policy that covers all of them, so it's actually cheaper? That's okay. So that handles that, right?
Yep.
And that'll cover them. They can use it for personal use. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
They're using it. Cool. That's one. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's actually probably cheaper than personal insurance, yeah? Or it's about the same?
Personal insurance is cheaper. The commercial insurance is a little bit more expensive. Mm-hmm. But this was actually a big challenge for us to solve, was the insurance aspect. Thankfully, because of apps like Toro and Get Around and so forth, insurance companies were started to come out with commercial insurance programs. Mm-hmm. And these are not the big ones. These are boutique insurance companies. They had
to for anybody doing a fleet.
Yeah.
So it's not it's just now it's more instead of less because, U-Haul, all these other people that rent trucks out. There's some version of it out there already. Yeah. So you didn't have to reinvent the wheel trying to have this conversation. It's insurance companies though, and of course they're going to be it's complicated, but no, it isn't.
There are insurance companies out there that will do this. And I remember when Uber first came out years ago now. There weren't insurance programs or policies out there for drivers and so forth. They created it because of how big this industry grew. And so Toro is not going anywhere. It's going to continue to grow. This peer-to-peer stuff is going to grow. And so they create policies and companies come out with creative programs to support those types of services.
My other question was, given that you're giving these shifts, right? Is it going to make them like W-2 earners because now they have to report for a certain amount of hours or a certain shift in the day? Or did you make it so it's like, if you're satisfied, you got 24 hours in a day, drive 12 of them. You could pick the 12. Would that get you around that so that they can all just be like independent contractors?
Yeah, they were independent contractors.
I know. But like when you say they got to work these particular shifts, if it's really, from what I'm understanding, and I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, if it's really rigid on hours, then they say, well, nah, he's technically an employee because you're telling them when they got to report to work. But if you're like, no, there's 24 hours in a day, you just got to put in 12 or whatever, that still kicks them out of that. So that was my other question. So
correct. We created those shifts because they were able to be like, some people were like, hey, I can't work this time because of kids, for example, or whatever the reason. We created those shifts based on studies in the marketplace. And when we knew that there were peak hours, you're going to have a lot of bookings and requests during these times.
A lot of people working on Sundays because it's quiet and less traffic, right? Like that's another, like people's lives don't revolve around 95. We just think they do, but sometimes people hate that because that's when all the traffic is.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And so some of the people wanted to avoid those traffic time frames. So we created the template of the shifts, but we were also flexible and allowed the drivers to be flexible and say, hey, you know what, that doesn't work, but I'm willing to do this.
The reason I really like this is because, and you know, it feeds into my trash meter business. Like, if you have tasks and there's money to be made from them, whether it's you want to do DoorDash and deal with tips, you want to do Uber or Lyft, or you want to do the trash meter stuff, like it's still a task. It still produces income. So it's just the fact that your car is there, and it could even be an alternative to TaskRabbit, which kind of sucks because if you ever gone on TaskRabbit and you're like, I need this thing done now, you gotta like schedule them a day and a half out. But if this person in this, you know, I don't know what you call it, but it's like, hey, by the way, he has a, you know, electrical experience too. He's just out of work because maybe he hurt his leg or whatever. It's like, it's like an alternative to TaskRabbit, but faster because it's like, oh, we got an electrician out on the street. He can be there in like 30 minutes. Like that, like them additional skill sets where you get people like they're just off or they just want to work, you know, a vet or something like that. They just want to be able to work their own hours. Like it could literally crowdsource those additional things too. So there's like this other level to other people's experiences that they could actually get paid a little bit more because not just that they're a driver, it's the skill set behind the person behind the wheel. So it could be a plumber like that's hurt or doesn't want to work or side work plumber. It could be anybody. And if they drop those skills in there, it's kind of like, no, this is like TaskRabbit on demand as well. Instead of just TaskRabbit, I gotta pick a time 2 days from now to get this thing done, to hang a curtain or whatever, right? So that's another reason. The reason mobile workforce, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason I shared this idea, because I wasn't going to share this, I was going to share something in real estate. The reason I shared this idea is because I tested it on a small scale, and I had small success with it. Yeah. I just didn't scale it.
Did an MVP, so you proved it.
But I brought it up because of you. Yeah. And your
yeah, baby.
Exactly.
I know we did talk about this before, so I'm not completely. You never dug into it this much because it was always like a couple of words here and there, and I'm working on it because you're a busy dude. But I'm glad you brought it out this way, and those were those main things, like you explained them. So
here's something that gets actually sexual with this.
Here's the thing, I can probably put this when you're ready into an application that could manage a lot of this, but we'll talk about that another day. But
I'm trying to stay focused on.
No, I know. That's what I said. I'm not even gonna take you off that. You got a show right now, so do that.
Yeah. So this right now, I stopped doing this because of the show came along and I started focusing on the show and these other goals that I have within the real estate category and niche. I just wanted to stay focused, right? So I got rid of this, just stopped doing it because it was just going to become a distraction. Now, here's the thing I wanted to share, though. This is also cool. Someone watching this might say, that's a great idea, but I don't have the resources to get a car. I don't have the resources to get 10 cars. But here's the thing. When I was doing Toro, I was managing about 30 cars. 10 of them I owned myself, and the other 20, they were not mine. They were other people's vehicles. So think about that for a minute. There's a lot, they call it co-hosting on Toro. You could do the same thing here. You can reach out to other people. Other people can have cars or buy cars, and that's a way to get started with little to no money out of your own pocket, and then go manage those cars and work with that partner that you have with this business model, and both make money. Like, let's say you gave...
Man, I would partner up with Kia and be like, Kia, I'm going to get 20 cars from you every month. You're going to give me a good deal, and this is how it's going to work. And just be like, make a deal with Kia or some
Dude,
little...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, 10 cars right now bringing in $35,000 a month. Again, that's not including all of the expenses like maintenance and so forth. But let's say at the high end, top line number, $35,000 a month. Even if you gave half of that away to a partner, that's still $17,000 a month that you as the operator are making. Now, as you grow your team, you're going to need help and support. You're going to have someone that checks in on it. So this is how we manage the cars too, to make sure that things were going according to plan, as expected. You put cameras, a dual camera on the dashboard on the car. So you're watching in the cockpit of the car and watching outside if an accident happens. You're also putting GPS trackers in the cars to make sure that no one steals your car. You could kill the engine if someone tries to do something stupid, right? And those are some ways that we just protected the vehicles. And so there's a lot. Dude, we can spend all day on this.
We don't want to go in the weeds, but no, it's a good idea, especially in today's workforce. The way people work now, it's like, on-demand workforce. I want to work when I want to work. I want to create the life I want to create, and it's congruent with the idea of freedom. And that's just the way people want to work. Because imagine, if you want to travel, let's say this was in every country, and you were already like an approved driver in America, and you decide, I'm going to go to Costa Rica for a minute, and they got it there. Like, you could just go and be like, all right, I got my money, but if I need to go pick up extra money, I'm already kind of qualified on this thing. Let me go jump into that, right? So like. Yep. It could help the earth a little bit by keeping more cars off the road, because there's just this one fleet everybody's using like a ride share. So there's that.
These vehicles, these cheap vehicles, were making more money than the luxury cars I had on Toro.
Yeah.
Think about that.
It's just the customers got to be right, but
that's the area
yeah. But because this is so specific, like the use specific, you're not gonna get the bad eggs, because they actually have to go through all these background hurdles just to get in the car. So it's not like, hey, I'm going to go in here, fake a profile, yada, yada, and go beat this car up, and then, hell with you. Yeah.
That was the hardest part about this process. So while it sounds good at a high level, the hardest part for us was finding the people at scale to apply, and then going through the background check process and making sure that they got qualified and approved. But you find the people, you find the right person. It did work with 2 people we found.
Yeah, this is sexy for the right 2 people, not one person. It's definitely not a one-person endeavor, because somebody got to be the operator, and somebody got to be like the.
Yeah, there's a lot of other moving parts to it, but at a high level, it's pretty awesome business to start. An idea. I wish I had more time. Probably focus on it more in
another day.
Yeah.
All right.
Real estate is my focus.
It was cash. Okay, so and then that's the T-shirt we got on today. So I wanted to ask you one thing before we wrap this up. Do you got like anything that stood out? You said Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it's funny because I mentioned that earlier, and like you said exactly what I said in a nicer way, which was it was good to get your mindset right, but it was not an instruction manual. You couldn't follow it to success. It just got you to the doorstep. It got you to open the right door.
Yeah.
But do you got like a podcast or another resource, a book or something like that you would recommend to like people in the entrepreneur space? And it could be real estate, it could be anything, but like what do you got for like, what would you give somebody to say, this is my favorite book?
For entrepreneurs?
Or a podcast, yeah.
Yeah, for entrepreneurs, my favorite book.
Podcast.
Yeah, of course.
Say it.
Of course. Trash or Cash, of course. There you go. There it is. Trash or Cash. Tune in.
That's a podcast. Well, if you got a book or a website or something, that's cool too.
Well, I think for entrepreneurs, a book that I'm going through right now is called Profit First. And
now, the real estate one or the regular one?
The regular one.
Okay.
Yeah, the real estate one is written by a friend of ours as well, but also a great book. But I was talking about the regular one. That is a book I'm going through right now, and it is huge for our business right now, and we're restructuring things to match what they're teaching in that book. So that's a great book that I would recommend to any entrepreneur to read. However, one of my biggest, my ability to accelerate to success didn't just come from books. It came from being a part of masterminds and mentorship programs. The networking and the collaborations and the people that you can meet at these types of events. And this is a pay-to-play type of thing. So you have to invest. You have to have the mindset to be willing to put down that credit card and spend big bucks to get into these types of rooms. If I want to meet certain people that I respect and look up to, and I know it can be a huge value to myself and my business, you got to pay to meet these people. And to get there faster, you can get into these types of rooms. So people that I used to look up to in the industry, in real estate when I was coming up, they're at these events. So I will spend $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 to join these mastermind groups and be able to rub shoulders or sit right next to someone that I look up to and learn from them. And so for me, my acceleration to success in real estate and in business came from joining multiple mastermind groups. Funding partners came from those groups, lenders, collaboration opportunities, joint ventures, new businesses, all came from mastermind groups and mentorship programs.
Weird question, but maybe not. Did a mastermind connection get you hooked up with the TV show?
Ha! Yes, it did.
Look at that.
So
you want to be on TV? You got to get to a mastermind.
It wasn't directly with me, though, but it was my business partner. He was at a mastermind, so invested money to join that mastermind. And somebody in that mastermind, after he presented about our company and real estate, what we're doing, he was like, hey, my friend, my cousin is the casting director for this production company that just happens to be looking for someone in Tampa right now to expand this show that's being turned into a franchise. And so, yeah, it started because my business partner was in that mastermind group. That relationship happened. And they looked at my profile. I had a lot of followers on Instagram at the time, so they did their research, interviewed me, and that went well. And months later, here we are. Got a TV show.
Look at that. Yeah, masterminds, never underestimate those. If you can get into them, it's worth it, because it's crazy how people will pay for, like, I'm going to take, like, they want to do their flex on Instagram or something. I want to take a picture on a private plane. So they'll go rent a private plane to take one picture to flex. But they could have probably paid that to, like, a coach or something like that and actually got some real value versus this picture and this flex. So it's weird the world we live in now, but, like, hopefully somebody's going to kind of push all that aside and kind of be like, you know what, this sounds better. Let me get into a mastermind, or at least, get connected. And that's going to lead me to, this shirt and who we are, the building we're in, right? Mm-hmm. So we're in the Real Freedom Collab, was a New Wealth Collab, Real Freedom Collab. And I'm a member here. I get to use the facilities like this podcast studio. We got these meeting rooms. We just saw a bunch of meetings going on. You're a member too, right?
I'm a member as well.
You're a member too, right? So I wasn't sure, but I knew you were affiliated, but I wasn't really sure if you do that. You cashed out or you trashed out. I don't know.
No, I actually paid to become a member as well.
Yeah, so same here. And we got rooms upstairs. We got that whole space over there for meetups. And this is for, like, anybody out there in the Tampa area. I just wanted to, shout out to the spot, because if you're an entrepreneur in the real estate space, tech, crypto, this is one of the benefits of membership. You're, like, rubbing shoulders with these guys. You're talking to Dolmar about TV show stuff, or Jay about construction, or Preston about whatever's on Butterfly Floated By, that type of thing. No, shout out to Preston, my first official real estate coach. I paid $7,000, and now I'm working in the same building as this guy.
You know what?
He was my first official real estate coach that I paid for, and we're in the same building now.
And shout out to Preston. Yeah. He's the one who got me into the info marketing side of the business. He was the inspiration and a mentor at the time.
Big Daddy P, and he's actually here roaming around somewhere. We was just playing ball outside in the front for a minute.
And credit to him, he's the one who inspired us to name our company Real. So all of our companies start with the word Real. That came from Preston.
And Real Freedom and Freedom Sauce. So Preston's all about this freedom. I mean, he's running around here somewhere, and that's one of the benefits of membership. You never know who's going to be in the building, who you're going to build with, and you might end up with a TV show if you play your cards right. So if you're interested in any of this, the collab, getting together with some of us, seeing us on more on a regular basis. If you're in Tampa, especially. You can go to the Trash or Cash podcast and look for the Real Freedom Club, which is my button, and you can press that button. Or if you can't find that one because I didn't build it yet, because that could happen too, click to get your invite. You can find also on realfreedomclub.com.
Yeah, collab.
No, man, don't mess me up. That's my affiliate link, homie. Sorry, bro, what you messing me up? Cut that part. No, keep that, because that's what happens in the podcast. We trying to get money over here. That's why I'm gonna pump Celsius for a minute. Hopefully they see this and they see this man next to me and they're like, yeah, that guy got a lot of energy. Yeah, I needed a lot of energy. I did like a bunch of podcasts back to back. So sponsor me, mom. You know what I mean?
I love what's going on here at the collab, because it's all about collaboration. Like you said, you never know who you're going to run into. And, my good friend, best friend, Brandon, really had a great vision for creating this incubator that it's just not another co-work space. It's an incubator where you can come and do deals together and get funding, or if you need a help or resource in this area, someone here probably has that connection. When I wanted to get into this space of doing business with the city and figuring out how to solve the affordable housing problem here, the contacts and relationships that helped to springboard where I am today already just in 2 weeks came from right here. So it's pretty cool to see the collective mind share and resources that are in a place like this. If you're interested in real estate, it's a great place to be, to come learn and get resources and access to people like you, myself, and Brandon and Preston and Jay, all the people that are here.
And not just that, but you can host, and now I'm doing meetups here, right? I do the Airbnb meetups. We got the stuff Mondays, Thursdays, all these other things going on. It's really things going on here. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're kind of swimming around in your own space and trying to figure out, what am I going to do with myself? How can I connect to people? I'm tired of going to these random meetups with people I don't know, what they really about. You can come here during the day and find some of us, we're over there doing work in our laptops and throwing the ball around and just chopping up ideas. So, for real, if you kind of you're in Tampa, you want to connect with, other entrepreneurs like us, the real, like I said, the realfreedomclub.com, you could just go to that. That'll tell you about this whole space. You can catch me on the socials, Jason Centeno, a.k.a. the Dad Next Door, or my business IG or FB, Trash Mitter. Those are some of the ways you can catch me. And Dolmar, you want to share the socials with these people if they ever want to, get coaching or whatever. I know you ain't got time for that now, but just to get to know more, just show you the love and check you out and call you sexy and all that good shit you like. Give you that attention, bro. Give you that attention. How can the good people out there give you the love you deserve?
Real
bro?
talk, I'm actually really shy. You don't believe it or not, I like to be behind the scenes. So this is all new for me. I'm getting out of my comfort zone with the TV show and all. But
yeah, you're gonna be out there with a drag show soon.
Oh my god.
Anyway, a makeover show from zombie to something else. I don't even know, but you that's your next show.
All right, so to find me on socials, all of my socials are my first and last name, Dolmar Cross. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all of it. Dolmar Cross.
Dolmar Cross.
Yep.
It's the one that hangs around your neck. All right, so that's it for us. This one went a little long, but that's cool because we had some fun, right?
I did.
It was the energy drink, probably. We just kept going, but
that happens when talking to you, man.
If you like this, you like the show, and you want to hear more trash or cash talk, maybe even pitch your idea, because in the future, hopefully, we can put people on the screen and kind of get 5-minute pitches, and then we can stop pitching each other and really break somebody down and say, oh yeah, you know what, I want to invest in that. Maybe that's where we go one day. I don't know, but. Listen, subscribe to the pod on Spotify or YouTube, trashorcashpodcast.com.
Sell me houses too.
Was that sell me
Sell
houses?
me houses.
No, sell me houses. Send me the lead. I send it to him. We could chop it up so that you could subsidize this effort right here, this super sexy podcast. And listen, if you're in Tampa in the area, definitely welcome to come get trashy with us one of these days at any one of our events.
Get trashy.
Get trashy. Get trashed. Keep it trashy, bro. Trashy and classy. It's a work in progress, man. How you gonna do me like that on my own podcast? That's it. Cut this whole episode. This boy, he out. Cut it. I'm done.
Hey,
all right,
man.
it's a wrap. It's a
Pleasure.
wrap. Listen,
Thank you.
take me out. I'm still working on an ending. So what would you take if this was your podcast? How would you end it?
I like it. Let's keep it trashy.
Keep it trashy. Peace, trash, and cash. That's what we going with, and we out.
Well, that concludes this episode of Trash or Cash. Make sure you follow on all socials at Trash Mitter. That's TrashMitter. And keep up with all episodes at trashorcashpodcast.com.